And today we are talking about commitment to large goal for 2019 with Eric Gillman. Good morning, Eric.
Morning.
At Addison James, we love Eric, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, you are an author, right? You have a book. What's the name of your book?
Called The Power to Change.
Power to Change. And he's going to share a little bit of his book with us. You are a speaker and Hall of Fame sales representative with Cutco Closing Gift.
Yep.
Now, can you talk to us a little bit about the book, The Power to Change? And
yeah, we're doing that. And it's basically, I used to be as a kid, I was really overweight and I got kicked out of high school and all that good stuff. And eventually through making small choices every single day, I was able to turn that around. And then I've become, an established endurance athlete, and I've done Ironmans, and I'm planning on riding my bicycle across country in 2 years to talk to young people. Basically, the message is small changes every single day, with compounding interest makes up long changes that are lasting over a lifetime. Whereas I think, we're so caught up in society of instant this and quick fix that, and I'll do this for this amount of time. That just, frankly, in my opinion, doesn't work. So, yes, we've got a picture. This is me when I was a kid. Look at that flame shirt.
Wow.
Right? Styling. My biggest regret as an adult is that I threw that shirt away. But yeah, so just help, I always like to tell people, just do more stuff and help more people, I think is really what a lot of my life philosophy boils down to, and make it the best day of your life,
Now, like you said, you need to do small change every day to get the big result at the end. But you also need something that happened in your mind, like a switch, to decide to commit to this small change. What was the switch for you that day?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because it's actually the first chapter in the book. It's really simple. It's not so much, it wasn't like a switch, it was a decision, and it was make a decision, which comes from the Greek word, disidere, which basically means to cut off, to sever. So it's like, when you really make a decision, that's something we can get into today too, is like, there's not another option. So I made the decision to get healthier. What that meant for me at the time, I didn't even really know. First thing, like people always ask, what was the change? I was like, I stopped drinking soda and I started drinking water. And that was the first little thing that I was like, oh, this change here equals change there. I feel different. I'll do something different. Then that led to the next small change, and then the next small change, then compounding interest, and of course failing a lot along the way, and setbacks and things going wrong. But if you win more days than you lose, that's winning, period.
Now, today we're talking about commitment to large goals for 2019. And I know in real estate, what happened is we're all motivated in December. We want to make all these changes. And for some reason, after January, our goals are kind of fading away. Do you think we should stop thinking about 2019 yearly goal and say, you know what, okay, 2019, but I need to do more like monthly goals? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that the reason that we disconnect, and the reason that, the gyms are empty by February and people have literally given up on their goals completely by mid-March or even earlier. Some people don't even make it till mid-morning on New Year's Day, but is because it's not connected to the why. What you're doing is so easily lost, of selling 24 homes in a year, or building, a team out from 1 to 2 inside salesperson or something like that. It's so long. Why are you doing that thing? Because that's what's going to keep the fire going. That's what real motivation is. It means being, a real, I'd say, dedication is being motivated after the initial excitement has worn off. After you're done writing down your goals and breaking them down and doing all these things, it's like how you keeping that fire lit through the entire year. And I think that the main one is connecting your why, and that can be whatever. Like for me, it's the bike ride. For other people, hopefully, your family. Maybe there's a certain car you want to buy, or a house you want to move into, or down to, or whatever it is. But like having that direct connection in your mind between, okay, what am I doing right now? And is what I'm doing right now moving me closer to or further away from the goal that I want, right? And having that, the stronger that connection of your why is, the easier that question becomes to answer. You know, if it's not connected, you go like, oh, I don't really, it's not a thing. So it's just having that deep connection of a why is going to keep you going the whole time.
Now, do you think we have too many goals? We come out in the New Year's and we have these 10 goals. I want to stop smoking. I want to stop drinking. I want to stop doing this, doing this. Maybe we should just focus on one. And the reason why we're failing in our yearly goals is because we have too many and we don't know which direction to go.
Yep. Yep. That's definitely a factor is, you know, there's a certain balance in terms of going big and achieving really great things. There's that very thin line of dealing with thinking big and having massive goals and the 10x rule and all these things. And then also like, well, I also kind of have to live in reality a little bit, you know, like I'm a big Grant Cardone fan, not of the 10x rule. I think it's kind of in the same because I already think so big, but other things like being obsessed or it's another book of his, Be Obsessed or Be Average. It's one of my favorites, but like the whole 10x thing, I remember, I'll never forget reading it. And I was like, this guy is nuts. Like he's literally a crazy person. But you know, shout out to Grant if you're watching. I love your buddy. So having that too many goals thing, it really just kind of depends on expanding your capacity. Like do you feel deep down, is that voice in the back of your head, like when you say, I want to double my GCI this year, I want to find the love of my life, I want to travel to 3 different countries, and I want to lose 30 pounds. Map that out, write it down. What's that year look like? What does that actually physically look like on the day to day? And I bet if you actually map that out, just saying those things to me, I felt overwhelmed. And it's like, is that how you want to live your life? Because if you commit to doing those 4 massive things or whatever, 3 or 5 or 10, and you're really committed, you might be putting yourself through some not great times. And really life is not people always ask me a lot of the time, like, you're always like, going for these big things and goals, like, are you enjoying it? I'm like, it's all I do is enjoy it. Like, enjoy the process. Because if you're not enjoying the process, then there's no point even doing the thing, you know, like, and obviously you want to have a big goal, but yeah. So if it makes you feel that overwhelmed, like on the day to day, like what do I have to do every single day? I'm like, oh, that's actually an insane. I'm like, oh, to double my GCI, find the love of my life, travel to 3 countries and lose 30 pounds. I have to wake up every day at 4 and I have to go to bed every day at 3:30 in the morning. Probably not going to be a life you're going to want to live. But not to say you can't do those things, and all those things I just listed are actually very doable within a year, obviously, just giving examples of, you know, things you hear a lot. But let's say if it doesn't overwhelm you, and then if it does, it's certain, you never, you know, I'm a big proponent of the idea of like, you never really know your limits until you push yourself there. That's one of my favorite things to do, period, in all aspects of my life, which has been a positive most of the time, is pushing myself to the actual, in most cases, physical and mental limit of what it means to expand your capacity. And then I just think that's how you grow to the next level of having a bigger goal the next time and doing bigger things, you know?
Now, what are the main things agents should use when planning their goal in 2019?
You said the main things they should use, or, I mean, I think
action plan, do you think they should like example, like you have all these people, like you said, they have 5 big goals, but they probably don't know how to break it down to daily goals and realize what it really takes to achieve these goals. So like, do you use daily action plan or monthly action plans?
I love that. Yeah, I think, and actually have that highlighted on my notes right here, is one point that I really wanted to hit on. And one of the things I love most about pursuing really big goals is how scary they can be to you and other people you tell them about. But then actually when you reverse engineer the goal and you simplify it to the lowest common denominator of what has to happen right now, or today for that matter, what's my one thing, really big, scary goals don't get so big and scary anymore. You know, I break it down in our industry or in any industry, really. It's like, well, I want to double my production. Well, it's like, well, double the amount of phone calls you make in a day. It's not that crazy. Plus, if you double the amount of phone calls you make in a day, the exponential compounding factor, you'll probably end up going, if you actually double your phone calls, you'll probably end up doing 100% growth to 150% growth because of the compounding factor of that all. But reverse engineering goals and breaking it down to the ridiculous, breaking it down to your key daily actions. Okay, what do I got to do today? And it's just that simple. So if it's the thing what's great about sales in general, and every industry is a little bit different, but for the most part, it all boils down to a golden rule of there's an equation in almost every single industry, if you're in sales, of how many phone calls you need to make, or new contacts you must make, or prospects you must contact every single day. For some people, that might be 5. For some people, it might be 20. But that's what the number is. And if you can just focus on just that one thing, you know, so I've been with Cutco for 12 years. And I tell this to every time I give a message to the younger reps who are up and coming. A really cool milestone within the company is to sell $100,000 worth of Cutco in a year. And, you know, this year I'll finish about 400, and some of the top reps, my goal next year will be close to 1 million, but it's 100 in a year. And I was telling them, like, it's crazy, right? That's a lot. That's a ton of stuff. Like, could you imagine how much work you have to do? And they're all kind of blown away. And I'm like, here's how many calls do you think it takes? And it's like, it's 20. It's 20 phone calls a day. It's an hour and a half of work. 20 phone calls a day, compounding interest, it just adds up every single time. So it's like, and then the next thing is, once you reverse engineer it, here's where you lose a lot of people. It's great to have a plan. Plan doesn't matter unless you do it. You know, I would lose 30 pounds if I just ate less than 40 grams of sugar and did 50 push-ups in a day. But when it's 11 p.m., you're like, I didn't do the push-ups yet.
No. Eat the frog first and start doing the push-up when you wake up.
I'm a big proponent of that, yes.
Now, do you have an accountability partner? I know personally, even if I'm very successful in sales, I always have an accountability partner. Do you think it's a must for people?
Yes. I'm going to say, my hesitation is that, do I think it's a must? Yeah. I think it's borderline. Can you do it? Here's the thing. Can you do it without it? Yeah, totally. But can you do a lot of things a lot easier with help of a lot of other people? Of course, right? So, I mean, I think I'm just reminiscing in my head of like a couple key people in my life where I'm still extremely close with, who within my time within Cutco, within my time as becoming an author, within my time of becoming an athlete. But I think that, you know, sometimes so here's where my hesitation comes from. The accountability side of it is you can put too much on that person. So I think it's important to have accountability partners, but don't let that be your crutch to making excuses of why you can't get your stuff done on your own time. For example, me and my buddy we're gonna be gym buddies, and we're gonna go every single day in the morning and every day at 6. And trust me, everything I would say I've done or tried. I would never give advice to those things I haven't. Is then what happens when one person sleeps in? You miss a day, right? It's so much easier not to go because that person's not there. Oh, this is my business partner. We both prospect every day at 9 a.m. What happens when he shows up at 9:30 one day? You not start working until 9:30. Now you're letting other people's lack of action and accountability bring you down. So what I say when it comes to accountability people, I think that in my experience, the best way to get the most out of to get the most value out of people and really give the most value to people is have accountability partners, but 1, don't make it all or nothing, and 2, have them in different areas of your life. Your accountability person for work is not your spouse. Your spouse is not your accountability partner for the gym. I mean, these things can happen, but not my recommendation is find these different things. So like my accountability friend for the gym is different than my one for work, because those are 2 different aspects of it. But I think that obviously there's power in it, but I always advise people, like, don't lean on it too much, because when that, you know, hopefully you, and I say this, I speak for myself, hopefully you and I are the most accountable person you know. That's like kind of a goal that I'm always trying to work on. It's something I try and keep in my mindset of having high integrity. And hey, I'm not always, you know, we can't always, but be the most accountable person that all in your friends circle of influence. They're like, that's the accountability person, you know? So having that, and then be that person. And what you'll find is other people will seek, people will seek me out. Can you be my accountability partner? I'm like, if you bail on me, I'm going to bail on you in one time. Like,
Now, I'm a big believer that we're focusing too much on, beginning of the year, new goal, we got to start fresh. Let's kill 2019. I'm a big believer that, hey, you know what? Every day is a new day. You can start tomorrow. Why waiting 2019? Do you start fresh every day, like writing down your goals and take action to your goals, or do you wait for early 2019 to start from scratch?
I think the T-shirt says that. But yeah, no, I think that's so true, because, you know, we get so caught up in this thing at a time, and end of the year, beginning of the year, Why does that matter? It's not relevant. It just matters. The only thing that is different is the amount of sunlight in the day. Time, and I'm not going to have to go into this, but it's made up. It's just it's a construct that it's very useful and valuable. I'm not crazy, but like it's fake. It's a thing that helps us organize things in our mind, very rightfully so, and necessary. However, people use it as an excuse of, oh, it's too early, it's too young. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow is, the killer of every single dream. And so, it's like, it doesn't, we always used to have the saying in Cutco, it's whenever we were managers, blank is the best month of the year to sell Cutco. When we're working with new people, oh, it's February. February's the best month of the year to sell Cutco. You got Valentine's Day, shortest month, so you don't have a lot of time. You really got to get it in. August, people are going back to school. Best month of the year to sell Cutco. People need to make food for their kids ready. It doesn't matter what time of year it is, right? Oh, and I hear it so much in the real estate industry. But you know who I don't, and I'm about to drop a bomb right now. You know who I don't hear that from? You know who I don't hear people talking about that? My top producers, my gold clients, the people who are crushing it. Never hear that. Never. I never hear that from people who are ordering 25 to 100 gifts. I hear from people who are ordering 4 gifts and wondering if they can afford it. Anytime I was telling people, and it's like, when I ask people, it's like one of my favorite questions to ask. I asked you before we started the call is, what are your goals? What are you working on right now? What are your biggest goals? Or when I ask people, what's your goal next year for a transaction? And I don't want to like throw anybody under the bus, but I'm sure you've heard this before. But if your sentence starts with "I hope" or "I want to,"
already out right there.
But it's like, it needs to be certain. You need to have a crystal clear vision.
About yourself, you out right there.
I hope I do. I hope you do too. All the best. My hope is all the best for you. But I got a bad feeling.
Now, sometimes I think that we have these goals and people don't understand how to be specific to their goal. They don't know how. Do you have a solution when someone said, hey, okay, I want to double my income, or I want to lose weight, but I really believe they're struggling on understand, but they have to be really specific. And how can you teach that to people?
Yeah. I love what you're saying. It's being specific, right? It's having, I think the key word there is vision, right? Is being able to see what you want. The clearer you can paint a mental picture in your head of where you want to go, what you want to be, and even more so to take it to another level from there. If anyone's ever done, like I've done a lot of training with Tony Robbins and some NLP, and I know you're a big fan of that type of stuff, is like not just seeing it, but putting yourself there emotionally and as physically and mentally as possible, and putting yourself at that end line and really knowing, what that feeling is going to be like, and then using that internal motivation to kind of keep you drawn to it throughout the entire year. But I think that, having the more clear the vision is on what you actually want to go to, the more, like we were talking about before, the stronger that connection with your why is going to be, right? So the deeper that emotional connection, because the why is just what's going to actually get you to get off your butt and do the thing. But if that's just like, oh, I kind of want to do it. Like, I'll give an example in terms of my own life. Like, people ask, like, when I got in better shape, right? And it's a process. People are like, when did you lose the weight? I'm like, I'm still losing it. I gained 5 pounds last weekend of eating pure stuffing, right? Just never ending. But it's that process, right? And I remember at one point I did a seminar and I physically saw my future self in the mirror, like physically what it looked like, what it felt like. And I bottled up that emotion and that feeling, and I used that to drive me when I wanted to, is this with the person? Basically what I'm trying to say is act as if you already are the person you want to become, right? So asking yourself the question, okay, I want to double my GCI next year. Okay. So now I'm sitting around the house and it's 10:30 on a Tuesday and I drop my kids off at school and I've got this and that to do, but I know I'm supposed to be prospecting right now, but I got a bunch of stuff. Well, ask yourself this question. Does the person who doubled their GCI in 2018 make this choice or that choice? Does the person who has this type of relationship? Do they make the choice to do this thing, or do they make the choice to probably not, not do it? Whatever. Put the scenario is the same. There's a person who wants to have a 6-pack by the summertime. Eat that cake right now, or do they not eat the cake right now? Like, we know. And so it's like putting yourself in that future shoe that's one way you can keep the visualization strong.
Now, how can you give us some insight on commitment strategy? How can you stay committed to your goals?
Yeah. I think I'd say probably, if I'd say 3 things, right? And it's 3 different stages, which one is set small targets. Set little goals, little things. Don't, try and, lose 20 pounds tomorrow. You're not going to double your GCI by next Tuesday, but do the little targets, right? So what's the one thing? I'm a big proponent of that. So I recommend the book, The One Thing. If you haven't read that before, Gary Keller, I think, wrote it, or Jay Papasan is, yeah. One thing is, and the question is really, what's the one thing that by doing this thing makes everything else easier or not necessary? And I might be butchering the quote exactly, but that's kind of the idea behind it. So focusing on just that one thing, right? And then also is really, people ask me what I've been up to, and it's I live in healthy obsession of my goal. It's being obsessed, and obsession gets a negative connotation, but obsession just means allowing your goals, your passion, your why to overcome your actions and your day-to-day strategy, right? So it allows your passion to overcome and overtake your day-to-day actions, which is, in my opinion, that's a great way to live, right? Is being obsessed, and you can be obsessed with multiple things in your life at one time. In terms of my obsession right now, from 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. on a Tuesday till 4 or 5 o'clock when I'm done, I'm obsessed with prospecting. But I'll always find something to do. And I'll talk about that one more thing in a second. But be obsessed with it. When I'm with my family for Thanksgiving, I am obsessed with not touching my phone. I'm obsessed with being present in the moment. When I'm at the gym, I'm obsessed with my workout and my time to myself. And I'm with a friend, relationship, husband, wife, spouse, whatever. Be obsessed with being the best person you can of them. But then when that's not happening, you got to switch your brain, right? And go to do the next thing. And then really the third point on that, if I continue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is an acronym that I can't say I came up with the term, but we made it into an acronym on our team. It's actually right behind me. You can see my vision board fell down. It's not normally on the ground. It's normally over there on the wall, but it fell down. It's gonna go back up soon permanently. It says BAFA. It says BAFA. And what that means is be a freaking animal. And the original F word was different, but for all PC versions, we changed it to be a freaking animal. And what that means is acting without fear, acting with an animal type of instinct, right? And that came from a really short story really quickly. I was in Mexico a couple of years back with a Cutco trip. Phenomenal time. We go every year somewhere neat for the top reps. And was out on a waterfall with some friends of mine. There's 6 of us, and this dog shows up. This random dog, someone's dog. It wasn't a wild dog, but and now it's our dog. You know how it is if you know dogs. We had a stick. He's oh, well, I guess this is our dog for the day. And we're playing with the dog. We're throwing the stick, and my buddy throws a stick, and it bounces off a rock, and it goes over the waterfall. And without any hesitation, no look back, no anything, this dog, it's a 14, 15-foot high waterfall with rocks at the bottom. It's not friendly at all. Jumps off the waterfall. And all of us are oh my goodness, we killed the dog. And dog hits the ground. He's fine, totally fine. Bounces up, runs around, brings the stick back up nothing ever happened. I'm watching this, dog doesn't even think about it, right? Dog acts with animal instincts because it needs a stick no matter what, right? So I just had this epiphany. We've always been saying on our team, be a freaking animal, be an animal. I think that we didn't come up with that term. Obviously, that's a long-standing term, whatever. But it's that. I think it kind of gets misconceived, with obsession. Is obsession's not a negative thing. Be an animal doesn't mean destroy everything and rip it apart or anything like that. But it means act with that animal-like instinct of acting without fear. And so when that comes to our day-to-day life, I'm always thinking about that phone call you got to make, that office you're supposed to stop into, that client you should probably stop by because you're in their neighborhood. You have 10 minutes, but you should probably go home and do something else instead. No, Is the dog going to do that? If the dog's driving by a stick factory, she's like, I'm going to the stick factory. I need it. I'm a dog. I don't even think about it. And then it's like, be an animal. And it doesn't always have to be like, something I've learned over the course of the last year is it doesn't always have to be in the sense of jump off the waterfall. You should also be a smart and cunning, smart animal, strategic, like a fox sometimes. And like, if you can strategically do something in your business, it works better. But don't act. Basically, it all just boils down to is living and acting without fear. And when I come, we all know the thing we're supposed to do. Just do it. And it's a lot easier than procrastinate. So anyway, so it's be aggressive, hit your targets, be obsessed.
Now, do you think we fear too much because we don't know what is our why? Is that the reason why we fear to pick up the phone? We fear to prospect, which it's easy, right? No one's going to kill you. You just pick up and talk to someone. I know I personally never had that issue, but do you think we just don't know our vision enough and we don't know our why? Is that why we fear?
I think that's a huge part of it. I think just fear is innately born into us. There's nothing, fear is good. It's part of what keeps us alive, obviously. But no, I think that most of it has become so irrational over years of, prospect. Yeah, exactly. Like it's a great point. So to touch on that, another thought that I kind of live by is, so act as if the people in the room, or excuse me, act as if the people who depend on you most in life are standing in the room watching you work. Think about that. If you're really out every day and the people who depend on you most, hopefully, every situation is different. And I know a lot of people, myself and everyone included, deals with a lot of adversity in different areas of their life. And of course, in our world of, everyone's life's great on Facebook and whatever. It's like a lot of people dealing with a lot of stuff right on the back end, and they let that fear that capture them and it paralyzes people so they don't move forward. They don't take that next step. And that's a learned trait, right? You learn that over time. So it's like essentially it's analysis paralysis, right? It paralyzes you. And what I find is act as if the people who depend on you most are in the room with you. And so actually while I'm here, so this is my desk. I just dropped the photo off it. But it's like all my people, so this is my nonprofit. My photo of my family just fell down. This is another one of them. That's my up there on the top. That's my vision board. You can see there's a piece of paper here. This is a nurse that I sponsor at the medical clinic. That's Andy. That's a nurse. And the note says, I appreciate you, Eric. You give me courage. And for about a year, I was paying her salary, like directly from me to her. We don't make a lot. We run a very 100% nonprofit. And anyway, when I'm on Facebook or just messing around or doing something I know I'm probably not supposed to be doing at my prospecting time, I just look up and there's literally the person who depends on me most for her family's food and shelter in a place where they need it so much more than we do. My God, I better make a phone call.
Why? And that's why it's giving you courage and
right. Because I should probably make that call right now.
Yeah.
Stop checking Facebook.
Now, 2020 big goals. You want to talk about it?
2020, yeah. You talking about the bike ride? Or okay.
The bike ride in 2020. You want to go across country and raise $250,000, right?
Yeah. So it all starting small. I bought my bicycle 2 weeks before I did an Ironman. I'm not exactly what you would call a born and raised bicycle rider. But it starts like doing these small things. And so it's three things of travel, helping people, and the medical clinic, which are my three biggest like priorities in my life. And so I just had this crazy idea. Well, I had the crazy idea to ride my bike cross country. And then I was like, well, if I'm going to ride my bike cross country, I do speaking for young people. I wrote a book. I might as well talk to young people as well. I felt it would be selfish to not. And then I had an aha moment about a year ago when I was riding my bike, trying to figure out how we're going to fund this clinic, because I've been paying we're paying the nurses and the doctors' salaries out of our own pocket for a while. It was just not a sustainable thing. We love them, but that's not how a good nonprofit works. So we need grants, right? We needed grants. So I looked for some grants. I needed about 20 grand to get the grants that we want. I said, well, how am I going to get, 20 grand? I don't have it just laying around capital to put into the nonprofit right now. And I was like, well, I'm going to ride my bike cross country anyway. Boom, boom, boom. Light bulb. I'll get 25 grand. Well, to quote Grant Cardone, I 10x'd it right there. And I was like, well, because 10, I was like, if I'm going to do it that far out, that's not enough money. So I was like, we need more. So I did. It's funny. I threw Grant Cardone under the bus earlier. Now I'm saying, yeah, 10x, man. I 10x the little. And
I love Grant Cardone. I'm all about it.
Yeah. So far, I'm breaking it up into 5 different events, 5, maybe 6 different events leading up to the ride to get as many people involved as possible. So the most recent one is I rode from San Diego to Las Vegas in September. So we did that, raised $17,000 on that ride. And yeah, it's great. It took 48 hours. But anyway, so that led into the next thing, which is going to be happening in March. It's going to be like a battle of the bands type of thing where they pick our charity. Nothing's officially on paper. We are having a meeting this week to officially make that official. But I hope they're not going to bring me in to tell me they didn't pick me. But more than likely going to be an event in March and April. So you can keep an eye out. I'll be keeping everyone updated on that. And that will be a local event in San Diego. And then another couple events leading up to it. And then basically about 2 years in 1 month. It will be late 2020. I'll leave DC and then ride basically down south through Nashville, through Alabama to the south, and then straight across.
Oh, wow. So you already map out everything for 2020. You're ready.
Tell you where and that's the thing is like breaking it down to the ridiculous. People think it's nuts. But when you sit down one night and you just break down, okay, well, if I rode my bike from DC to Pittsburgh or this place to that place, it's like, well, that's only 80 miles. That's only 80 miles. That's 60 miles. That's 50 miles. I could do that stuff in my sleep. So it's just a bunch of rides back to back to back. So it's like breaking it. So yeah, it's already broken down. I don't know exactly what schools I'll be speaking at, but that's like, I'll figure, the smaller details like that, figure that out the year of and whatnot. But, it's just having that the big vision of it and just committing to it. Yeah. So I'm too deep now to not do it as well.
You're making your vision come true as we speak.
Yeah. And it's kind of it's one of the things I'm really grateful for is like having that opportunity to be able to help people through doing something that I love. And I think that I hope my biggest wish on people is I don't judge people on anything they do in life. I just hope that they can find something that, gives them or rewards their passions and gives them a life all at the same time. And so I'm really grateful for that. And I try and, share with as many people as possible. And best day of my life. Oh yeah, I forget. They're a sponsor. So they're a sponsor for the ride. So they send me some shirts. I wear them all the time. If you go to bestdayofmylife.com.
It's a website, huh?
Oh yeah. It's a lifestyle. bestdayofmylife.com. If you order a shirt, they're like $30. They're super nice quality, tank tops and everything too. And put in code Eric G, ERIC, capital G. 50% of the sale will go directly back to Angel Wings, which is my nonprofit. So
that's a nonprofit. Okay.
So yeah, I'm looking for that's the thing is just finding partners, and I've had a couple of things develop with that. That's really exciting, and it's just kind of neat to see the whole process. But yeah, the best day of my life thing. It's a brand that a friend of mine owns. And it's a lifestyle. It's a mindset. Like you asked, do I wake up every day and like, jump out of bed? No, like I crawl out of bed like most of us and like, just debate if I'm getting back in. But it's just, put the people very commonly because we live in, as we all know, somewhat of a pessimistic, negative world sometimes. So sure, it's a little bit overwhelming when you wear it out to people and they're just like, is it really the best day of your life? Like really, like sometimes sarcastically or negative. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, why? I'm like, because I put the shirt on and I made the choice.
Because I'm you're helping a cause.
The choice you make when you wake up.
You just don't want to connect you with the people who have just negative thought right away.
Yeah. And you can,
it's the best day of my life every day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Eric, how can we help you? We're going to put a link of the Facebook page, right?
Yep. So just like the Facebook page. I'll send over the link for that.
Okay.
Facebook page. That's for right now. Before we are, as we talk, I'm going to build a website. This is just continuing to evolve. I am doing this 100% in my free time, which I do also run one of the top businesses for Cutco in my not free time, which is a lot of the time. But yeah, go check out the Facebook page and like that, because I'm gonna keep that updated most often. Go buy a Best Day of My Life shirt so you can have the best day of your life. We'll put the link in there. It's code Eric G. And obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention, if you ever need, any gifts for clients, we do branded closing gifts. We keep people top of mind forever with their closing gift system. We can put a link for, we've got a short, like 2 or 3 minute video that explains our program. Really funny. We can send that out. So if anybody's interested in branding themselves forever with their clients, that's really what our team, I don't specialize in every day the best day of my life. Our team specializes in branding for agents and stuff. So I'd be honored to get you some more information and work with anybody on that. But yeah.
Eric, thank you very much for being here with us today.
You're very welcome. It was always an honor and a pleasure and a privilege. And I wish everybody has, a fantastic, and not just 2019, but, as we're closing out this year, like really, as we all know deep down, but only certain people really take advantage of, is the next year's already started if you want to have a big next year. In fact, it started a couple of weeks ago, if you really want to get technical, but like, it's not too late. But like that everything that you do between now and, January 1 is exponential momentum that builds into the following year. And that's just how you have just continued growth, is don't take the time off that's not needed. Take time off and love your time, but yeah.
Don't wait January 1st. Be obsessed today.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everyone. If you want to reach Eric, we will put all his information and all the links on the Addison Gyms page.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Eric. I wish you great holidays, and we hope to talk to you soon.
Yes, absolutely. I'll see you soon.
Bye, Eric. Bye, everyone.